Doctor Who actor Ncuti Gatwa is blaming racism on why the show is seeing absolutely abysmal ratings and significant loss of viewers for the latest Doctor Who series. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. And in an article published by NPR on May 10th, the day before Series 14 released its first two episodes in Space Babies and The Devil's Cord, Ncuti Gatwa blamed racism for why people were abandoning the show. This is what he told the outlet. I don't want to diminish racial aggression at all, but for me personally, I find it fascinating that it matters so much to these people. You're going to limit yourselves from a show that you claim to love because you don't like something about someone's appearance or their race. He added, it's just really sad for them. So clearly, Gatwa is assuming that people are not watching the show because he is black. And he is basically accusing them of being racist. It's a pretty big assumption. I think it is absolutely 100% false. I don't think there is really any evidence of that. But these comments are not out of the ordinary for him. In an article published by Variety on April 25th, Gatwa addressed Doctor Who fans who might not be happy with his casting, saying, don't watch, turn off the TV, go and touch grass, please, for God's sake. And clearly people have done that. They have not watched, they've turned off the TV, and they've likely gone and touched grass because it is more entertaining. There's more value. People are finding more value in going out and touching grass than watching the new Doctor Who. And we have the evidence to show that. So all of these comments came in the wake of Gatwa's debut episode, having the second worst ratings of any premiere of The Doctor. The Church on Ruby Road, which was the Christmas special, which was his first kind of main episode with just him. It debuted on Christmas Day. It only saw viewership hit 4.7 million in overnight numbers. That is far worse than Jodie Whittaker's debut episode, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which had viewership of 10.96 million. In fact, the only episode that Gatwa's debut beat was the very first episode of Doctor Who with Will Hartnell as the first Doctor in An Unearthly Child. The episode, which aired back in 1963, premiered with 4.4 million viewers. However, Hartnell's first Doctor would see viewership increase over the next 10 episodes. Initially, it increased to 5.9 million. In the third episode, it went up to 6.9 million. By episode 7, it hit 8.9 million. With episode 8, it increased to 9.9 million. By episode 10, it hit 10.4 million. Interestingly, the ratings for Doctor Who have continued to decline since Gatwa's comments. So these are people who even tuned in to watch his debut in the Christmas special. Tuned out. They didn't watch the new episodes that debuted on May 11th. Space Babies only had overnight viewership of 2.6 million. That was the premiere episode for this Series 14. The Devil's Cord, which debuted the same day, it only clocked in at 2.4 million viewers. And the third episode, which just came out, boom, it only brought in 2.04 million. So we're still seeing massive amounts of decline. And so this whole idea that people are tuning out because of racism just doesn't hold any water as time goes on. People who clearly tuned in to watch the Christmas special tuned out to watch Series 14, and they are continuing to tune out as they release more episodes. Even if you want to look at the consolidated figures, you can see Space Babies only brought in a total of 4.01 million viewers over an entire week, over 7 days, and that includes like mobile apps, laptops, etc. The Devil's Cord only brought in 3.91 million viewers. Again, this is for 7 days. The day it released and the week after. That is awful. Absolutely awful. For comparison, just look at what the Church on Ruby Road did. It had a 7-day consolidated viewership number of 7.49 million. That's a loss of 46% viewership from the Church of Ruby Road to Space Babies. It's a 47.8% decline to the Devil's Cord. They lost nearly half of their viewers from the Christmas special to this series debut. So I don't think you can say that it's racism when you actually people tuning in to check it out. Obviously, still at a subdued number, but then you're losing nearly half of the people. You've lost over half now by you've lost over half now with Boom, because obviously we already know the overnight numbers are lost 400,000. So you know that the consolidated numbers are going to at least be 400,000 less. And then if you even look at the reviews on IMDb, you can see that these people are not citing his race at all. I mean, one person says, I have no issues with the cast and they have a good vibe. I'm particularly enjoying Ncuti in the role. I wasn't actually aware of him before this, but he really does have some good energy. Too early to tell regarding the writing, so I'll reserve judgment. It's been better than Chibnall, but that's not a difficult accomplishment. My biggest issue is the overall feel of the show. They say Disney has no real input, so why does it feel like a Disney show? If it doesn't pick up, I may just give up and go back to watching the older seasons. Given the recent performance of Disney shows, this really isn't a good start, and I hope beyond all hope it finds its feet because this isn't what the majority want. So clearly, the issue has nothing to do with Ncuti Gatwa. It has everything to do with the story and the plot. We have another writing here. I'm an avid Doctor Who fan, but of course, since the ending of Capaldi, I've sadly not been so interested. Jodie's performance was whack, let alone some of the storylines and history lessons that were a part of that season. I was hooked again after David Tennant came back, which led me to watch a bit more. Ncuti is an okay actor, but I would put him in the same lines as Capaldi. But watching the first 2 episodes, I'm not really feeling it. The storyline is as boring as last season, and half the time it's either cringy acting or weird plots that don't have enough substance. Please, I really want to enjoy Doctor Who again. So again, has nothing to do with his race. They're pointing out his acting abilities, this person is, and then they don't like the stories and the plots. I mean, there's a couple others here. You can read that in the description below, but I think it's pretty clear. I mean, you can go over to IMDb too and read them. Almost all of them are kind of criticizing the show's story and some of the acting. It has nothing to do with the race of Ncuti Gatwa. And I think because he is making it about race, I think more people are going to tune out because they're not interested in supporting someone who's going to be calling them racist. People are done with it, I think. I think especially here in the United States, people are done with it. I think maybe in the UK might be a little bit different. Hard to know. Not really. I don't really live over there. Don't really get a vibe what's going over there. I obviously feel that they are much more kind of bought into a lot of the woke ideology and I think they've been exporting a lot of it, honestly. And you can just see it here in the Doctor Who and what Russell T Davies is doing with it. I mean, this stuff is absolutely in your face. It is way more aggressive with pushing the woke ideology than what we typically see here in the United States. So I definitely feel like at least the elites and the people who are making their television might be even more woke than the ones over here, which is saying something, right? But let me know what you guys make of what Ncuti Gatwa is saying here in his claim that people are abandoning the show due to racism. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable to each other, but to always speak the truth.